Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we'll be learning how to cut a kaftan or bubu gown with a tight waist and a front slit. Now please do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. Now for this tutorial, I'll be using 3 yards of satin to recreate the picture you saw of my thumbnail. So this is 3 yards of satin. You can actually use Duchess or any fabric of your choice to recreate it, but for me, I'm going to actually use 3 yards of satin. Now the first thing I'm going to do will be drafting the back first. I'm actually going to fold this fabric into 2. Now the length of this fabric in total is 45 by length. So instead of folding it horizontally, I'll be folding it vertically to be able to get my desired length. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold it into 2. Now after folding it, as you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and pin this down. Now I'm actually done pinning this down. So after pinning it down, I'm just going to start my measurement from this folded edge, from the folded edge. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to actually divide my shoulder measurement into 2. So the shoulder measurement that I'm working with is shoulder 16. So my shoulder measurement divided by 2 is 8. So I'm just going to go ahead from this folded edge. I'm going to mark 8. Now, while folding your fabric, make sure that whatever thing you have on fold will be enough for both your sleeve and your shoulder measurement, because the measurements are usually on the same line. So just make sure that whatever you fold is actually going to be enough. So I've gotten my shoulder measurement divided by 8. Now I'm just going to take it all the way down to my sleeve length. So I'm working with sleeve 12. So I'm just going to mark this down. I'm just going to mark down 12 inches, as you can see. Now after marking down the 12-inch, I'm going to take in my neck width. The neck width I'm working with is 3 inches, and the depth I'm working with is depth 2. So remember, we are still drafting the back. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a curve for my neckline. Now after this, I'm basically going to come down from this sleeve length, come down here by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So from this point, I'm just going to connect it all the way down to this place. So I'm going to use my curve ruler and connect it down to the neckline. My material is moving, so I'm just trying to just watch what I'm doing. So basically I'm done doing that. So after that, from my sleeve length, I'm going to come down by how wide I want my round sleeve to be. So from this 1 inch we already made earlier for our shoulder slope, I'll be coming down by 10 inches, or you can actually go down by more depending on how you want your sleeve area to be. So I'll be coming down by 10 inches. I'll mark down my 10 inches here and mark it down. Now from the shoulder line, I'm going to mark my bust point. My bust point is 10 inches, so I'm just going to extend it all the way down to the material. Now after that, I'm going to divide my bust measurement, which is 36. My bust measurement divided by 4, 9 inches. So from this edge, I'm going to mark down the 9 inch that I got after dividing my bust measurement on the bust point line. Now I'm going to add extra 4 inch or 5 inch, depending on how wide you want yours to be. So for me, I'll be adding extra 5 inch because I'll be using 1 inch to stitch it down. Then the remaining one will be 4 inch. So I'm just going to go down by 5 inch. So I added 5 inch to my normal round bust measurement. Now from this edge that we already took the round sleeve that we want, we are going to connect it all the way down, making a curve to the 5 inch allowance that we made earlier. Just see what I did. From here, I made a curve down to this angle of the 5 inch allowance. Now I'm now going to go ahead and take my gown length. Now from the shoulder, I'm working with length 60, but I'll be using the whole tape. I'm just going to mark to the full tape to get the length of the gown. So this is it. I've actually marked the length of the gown, and I'm now going to go ahead from this line we got earlier. I'm going to connect it all the way to the full length of the gown. Now you might want to use a ruler for this, but for me, I'll be using my free hand. So basically this is what we have for the back side. Now the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and cut it off. So after I went ahead to cut out the back piece, I also folded my fabric back again into two pieces to cut out the front part of it. And after folding it into two, from this edge, I went in by 1 inch. You can actually choose to go out by 1.5 inch. Now, the reason for this 1 inch that we started at the edge of this fabric is because of the slit we had in the front. So after taking in 1 inch inward from the fabric all to the length of the fabric, I'm just going to go ahead and place the back piece that we cut earlier on the 1 inch line that we gave out earlier. Just watch what I'm doing. So I'll just make sure that this back piece is actually on the 1 inch space that we had given for our slit. So I'm just going to do this and go ahead and also pin it down. So basically, after placing the back piece on the front piece away from the 1 inch that we had earlier, I'm just going to cut the sides equally with the back piece. Now I'm done cutting it off. The next thing I'm going to do now is to get the depth of my front neck. Now for the front neck, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that the width are equal with the back. So I'm just going to mark down this width we have here on the front piece, making sure that the width is equal, as you can see. Now for the depth, I'm going to decide how down I want it to be. Now for me, I'm going to go down by 3 inches. Now for you, you can decide to do 4 inch or even lesser, depending on how down you want it to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and curve this to get my front neckline. Now after that, from this 3 inches we got for the neck depth, from here I'm going to measure down 4 inches for the front upper slit. So after I went down by 4 inches for the front slit, for the front neck slit, I went ahead to unpin the back away from the front. So we've gotten the front neck slit. Now the next slit we are going to get now is the down slit. Now I want the slit to stop at 34 inches. From my shoulder line, I'm actually going to measure down 34 inches. So this is 34 inches. I'm just going to go ahead and mark it down to the 1 inch we had earlier, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead to my sewing machine and stitch from the 4-inch line we marked all the way down to the 34 inches we marked. So I'm going to stitch from this 1 inch downwards and stop towards this end. I'm not going to extend it down to the fabric. I'm just going to sew from this line to this line. I'm done joining the center of the front piece. As you can see, let me turn it over to the wrong side so you can get a clearer view of what I'm saying. So I went ahead to top stitch just like the way I told you with the 1-inch line we gave earlier. So I'm going to go over to my iron and iron this out all the way down to the end of the dress. Let's see what it's going to look like. So basically, after open pressing the front piece of the 1-inch we folded earlier, as you can see, this is what the back is looking like, and this is what the front is looking like. This is what the front is looking like. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to turn it over back. I'm going to go back to my iron and now place my hemming gum under it to place it inside and iron it all the way down to the end of the dress. Now I'm done open pressing and using my hemming gum to hem down the edge of the dress. As you can see, it's no longer pulling off. So this is basically what it's looking like now. I also went ahead to turn the neck of my back area, use my facing to turn it off. So I'm done with the facing and the ironing. Now the next thing we are going to do is to cut out the band for the tight waist of the front fabric. Now for the band, how I usually determine the length of the band to cut for the tight waist is I divide my waist measurement, which is 32, into 2, and it's giving me 16. So I'm going to add extra 10 inches to the 16 that I have. That's 26. So the length of my band will be 26 inches. With this, I don't have to cut excess fabric or too much length for the dress. Now I'm cutting it by 26 inches. Now the width of the band I'm making use of is 4 when it's not on fold. So I have 4 here. Now if you want the effect of your band to show from the waist to like down in 2-inch downwards, you can choose to make the width of your band bigger than 2 inches on fold. That's to say, if I want the effect to actually show off very well, I can choose to make my band on fold to be a little bit wider than the tiny one I have here. The thing I'm going to do now is to actually fold it over to the wrong side. I'm going to stitch here with 1/2 inch and also stitch the side. Do the same thing for this one, then turn it over to the right side and iron it out. So after sewing my belt, and I also went ahead to iron it out, I'm going to keep that aside and bring out the front piece that we had earlier. So I'm just going to turn this over to the wrong side, as you can see. So now we are going to attach the belt before actually shaping our dress. Now from the shoulder line, I'm going to come down by my waistline. So my waistline is 16 inch. I'm just going to mark that down. Then from this other side too, I'm going to come down by my shoulder to my waistline, which is also 16 inches. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to extend the line. So after I might have done that, on this waistline that I have here, I'm going to divide my waist measurement into 4 inches. Now my waist measurement is 32, and I'm going to divide 32 into 4. So 32 into 4 is basically 8 inches. So from the center of this dress, I don't know if you can see, from this place we joined the 1 inch, I'm going to measure the 8 inches we got earlier and mark it down. So I'm just going to do the same thing over to this side. I will measure from the center here and mark down the 8 inches we had from our waist measurement divided by 4. So after marking that down, I'm going to go ahead and bring out the belt we had earlier and place it on exactly these 8 inches that we marked earlier. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it there, and also use my pin to secure it. So I'm just going to place this here and pin it down. I'll also go ahead and do the same thing over to this side. I'll place the belt here and pin it down. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go over to my sewing machine and stitch it down to the main fabric. I'm just going to use 1/2 inch and stitch this down. After stitching it down, this is what we have. As you can see, we've attached the belt to the waistline of the fabric, and this is what is looking like on the right side. So this is what is looking like. I'm going to actually turn the neckline of the front with either a facing or a bias. So anyone that is convenient for you, you can actually make use of it. So I'm just going to turn this over and iron it out. So after turning up the neck area that I have here, I went ahead to turn up the neck area, as you can see, and also hem the side of the sleeve. I hemmed it with hemming gum. Now the next thing I'm going to do now is to place the front piece and the back right side facing each other. So I'm just basically going to place the back piece on the front piece, and on the shoulder area I'm going to use 1/2 inch to sew it all down together, after which I'll still come down by the side of the dress and also join it by half of an inch all the way down to the length of the dress, and also fold the down part of it. So after ironing it out and stitching down the sides, this is basically what I am left with. So that is all for this tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up after watching. So see you in our next video. Bye.